So I'd like to welcome everybody to our regular Friday introduction to WIDIA NOVO PC and tablet application, which we launched very successfully a few weeks ago at IMTS. I'm Chris Merlin, and I'm a marketing leader at WIDIA. And I'm going to walk through today just some basic, little bit background on what Novo is for the WIDIA company. Why now the time is right for Novo. It's going to be just a couple minutes, give you a little background, a little flavor on what our vision is here, and go into a demonstration of the basic functionality. I think that's what you guys have all dialed into of our new free download for PC and tablet application. So just sit back. I hope it's enjoyable. Hopefully we learn something and you find out about the power of Novo. And when I get to the end here after about 20 minutes, I'll open her up for questions. So again, thanks for joining me. And let's talk a little bit about what we see on the market. I think you guys hear this all the time, industry magazines, industry, at the trade show, it's certainly a topic. But there are some mega trends on the market that are combining to create those in the machining space. You have this shortage of technical talent gap, and this is not just in North America, but all over the world. And you have this massive investment in automation, which are coming together to really make business a bit more complicated for all of us. So our vision with Novo was really to leverage these new digital channels, the Internet of Things you might hear, and to change the way work gets done to enhance productivity in the machining operations. So what this really means is over the last 30 years, if you've been around as long as I have, you might remember going from a manual lathe to a tape machine. We have really seen things become more digital, more automated, but growing up like trees in the forest very separately. What we see in the next 10 or 15 years is people are going to do really well in our space is the people that bring all this stuff together very connected and very smartly. And we believe Novo can be a driver of this for sure. In fact, it's an enabler and really a necessity. So if you think about where we are today, you have a lot of complicated CAM programs, tool management systems, verification software up on the left, coming together to talk to very expensive digital machine tools, which are also being enabled by a movement called MT Connect, which will allow these machines to talk together. On the bottom left, you have a bunch of digital data and around all the products and consumables we use. It's coming in through the web, coming in through the cloud. And finally, on the bottom right, a bunch of other related equipment. So we have a very, very digital environment that we operate in our personal lives and in our shops, but it's not quite linked. So our vision with Novo was digitizing our knowledge and data around our products to enable productivity in what we call the other 97%. You guys might have heard the study. Normal studies will say that around 3% of the standard cost of goods sold for a machine component is tooling. All of the other costs are in other areas: labor, machinery, overhead. And the opportunity by digitally connecting all this stuff is to cut down on non-value added work. So what we're talking about is instead of optimizing a machining process at spindle by spindle, feature by feature, and then going back and trying to get it back through the system, what if we brought that knowledge and data up front in a way that it could flow through the art-to-part process? Wouldn't this be much more smart? Wouldn't this eliminate a lot of non-value added work, looking through catalogs, typing data, and manipulating models? This is all really a necessary evil. And we think we're on a very positive path towards doing this. We have really been able to solve a lot of problems for people in the process planning area. They know the CAD/CAM, they need access to our data and models, but they also need it to work very easy and very simply with the systems that they use. And all of the people around the machining operations, our distributors, our application engineers, they also are doing a lot of this process planning and collaborating. The process planning is a very collaborative process in the machine shop. Purchasing, production planning, CAD/CAM. So that's by bringing the data together in a way that can really be manipulated and brought in the right way to the right place at the right time to speed this process up. I can show you just one case example of what we have accomplished. You know, the traditional way of selecting tools, our team, in fact, this is a team of process planners within WIDIA who, you know, we're basically a tooling company. They told us this is a day in our life. Someone puts this process plan in and says, hey, pick me all the tools and machining strategies to do this process. They told me that on average, this would typically take a 4-man team about 2 days to do in the past. You know, you got these 5,000-page catalogs. You got to look for everything that fits together. You basically got to reverse engineer the component, and in the end, you still wouldn't have all of what you need to program the part, and you'd probably use a lot of old knowledge because when you have all this data to go through, you tend to revert to what we call tribal knowledge. With the new PC and tablet application, a 4-man team did this in an afternoon. It was 103 tooling assemblies on this particular component. They had all the optimal feed and speed information, the latest technology, because Novo is coming live from WIDIA's PLM system. So if we put a new product in today, it's in there today. And they have, most importantly, they had all the assemblies, all the models, and all the data ready to program their part. So this is just one example of a 75% time saving just in the area of selecting, getting the models and data, and getting prepared to program your part. So this is what the future of digital manufacturing holds. Now I'm going to go into, so our vision really is to connect with all of these areas within the shop which required tooling, data, and knowledge. And as you can see, we've launched a free tablet and PC application, but our real vision is to get this data and knowledge into shop systems. And if you were at IMTS, you saw we had already integrated systems with Vericut, Esprit Cam, tooling, Zoller tool management. So really delivering the knowledge and data in the way that people want to use it in a very easy way to format. And our vision really is to drive all the way to Industry 4.0 for the machining processes. So I hope you enjoyed a little back on the program itself. Sorry, it took just about 7 or 8 minutes there. What I would like to do now is I'm going to go into a 10 to 15-minute demonstration of the tablet and PC and tablet application. So as you can see when you log into the PC and tablet application, it knows who I am. It knows that this is Chris Merlin. And this is because one of the unique things about this solution is it allows you to use a free cloud account. So it's just a name and an email address, and not too intrusive. And what this really does is it gives me access to what we call job management. So people in process planning, you know, they're basically programming jobs and organizing packages of data around jobs. And if you look here, this has got all of the jobs that I've done in the past stored in a nice, easy way. No matter what, so if I create a job at home and I log in on my PC at work, I've got my data there. So it's very portable, very good for collaboration. And process planning areas are working on the same job, so they can copy a job as a template. They can share a job with their counterpart. It'll show up in their job list. So this is a really nice feature of this particular tool. So I'm going to go into this particular job that I was working on, and as you can see, I've identified that I'm working with P2 steel. Now, when you look into the standards here under AISI, one of the biggest challenges of picking cutting tools and feeds and speeds information is finding, literally going through 2,000 or 3,000 materials and trying to match them up with which of the 40,000 cutting tools you have that are good for the job. So if I go into AISI, I start to type in 1040, it's going to tell you that that this is under WIDIA's P2 machinability group. So already it's saving me time because as I set this at the job level, now it's going to work only within the tools which are optimal for this particular material. So now I have the material set. I put in a little picture of my component here of what I want to machine, and with the machine is outside housing here. And I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on these holes here on the outside of the housing. So if I go into what we call a tool advisor, it's starting to look a lot like a CAD/CAM software. So I'm going to pick a hole making operation. It's got lots of nice, easy to use templates. This happens to be a simple through hole. And you see it's got the option here for a machine. I'm going to go into that a little bit later, but you can define machines so that it would restrict maybe some of your selections based, for milling, for example, based on the capability of your machine. In this case, I'm going to go into a hole that I have that's a 10 millimeter hole. So I can work in intrametric. I'm going to do a 10 millimeter hole. About 50 millimeters deep, and I'm going to tell it that when I go into there's about a 60-degree angle on the face of the tool. So it's got 3 required pieces of information, one of which is already filled out at the job level, and then a lot of other optional information that I can add to refine its searching or its output. So I could ask it for intrametric tools. I can ask it for solid or indexable tools. In this case, I'm going to run it wide open and find what the best solution is. So when I hit continue here, it's cranking through. What we've done is we've matched all of WIDIA's tools to machining strategies. This is very critical because if you work in a process planning area, you go from component to feature to strategy. And your strategy is often dictated by what you're comfortable with or what works best on your machine. So we've connected all of the WIDIA tools to machining strategies. So that's pretty cool. And actually, most people will drill this hole. But it did tell me that if I didn't have a drill in stock, it is possible to helical mill this hole. So it allows me to pick the strategy I'm comfortable with, and it may teach me about a strategy I haven't even thought about. I'm going to pick the traditional hole drilling strategy. And now it's cranking through 40,000 standard WIDIA tools based on the parameters I've given it to not only pick a tool, but actually a tooling sequence. So as you can see here, I'm not sure what happened to my tab there. As you can see here, it's found a tool, which is great for a 10 millimeter hole, and because it's 5 times D, so it's picked the Top Drill S for this particular application, which is our most productive solution for steel. Now, it also allows me to view alternate choices. If I'm not comfortable with that particular tool, I can also look for other tools that I might have in my stock. Or we've also got a connection to our toolbox unit, which would also show tools that are in this particular that are in my toolbox unit. So in this case, I've found the tool that's best for me. It's this TDS 202, and now I'm going to add it to my job. Once I've added it to my job, it's saved in there, and now I can do a couple things. With it. The first thing is I probably want to adapt it to my machine because I want to use this tool tomorrow. So, as you can see, here's some other tools I had in my job. You'll notice this was a milling cutter I did in the past. It also has all the spare part information. I'm going to go into the last application I did here. And I'm going to open this tool up in what we call our configurator. So in this particular tool here, I'm going to open it up, and now you're going to see our configurator. So we've got our catalog, our 40,000 items, our catalog on steroids. So it's all mapped with fits with and works with convention. So if you guys have ever gone through the process of finding, for example, a shell mill adapter, and an insert and another extension, this can be a rather time-consuming task, and you might have to go through 3 or 4 catalogs. With Novo, we've mapped all the tools it fits with and works with, so it's not only is it speedy. When I click on that particular item, it gives me only items which will fit my tool, but it gives me only items which will work with my tool, so it won't match a hydraulic. It won't match a hydraulic chuck up with a Weldon shank, for example. So I'm going to pick a KM adapter here, I'm going to add it to my tool assembly. And now you're going to notice one of the most important things with Novo. So if you're in process planning or you're working with CAD/CAM, all of this is basically a necessary evil. What you really want is the models and data to program this part. So as you can see, it's building live the 3D assembly. I can download this into common file formats. Basically, STEP usually works with Vericut or most CAM systems. I can also do the light simulation model. And I can go in and check the feeds and speeds very dynamically. So if I click on here, I can change the material. I'm going to stay with P2. I can change the starting speed, the starting feed, and it's going to adjust dynamically my torque and power requirements. So it'll also give me a warning if I've selected a machine, and I can go back through there. If I've selected a machine in here, and it happens to be a milling cutter, it'll tell me if I've exceeded the capability of that particular machine. It also has a default button. So if you get in here and play with it, you can go back. So now you can see I have my model. I have my feed and speeds. I can download this. I'm ready to program my part. The other thing that Novo's done, by organizing this all in a job, I don't have to download just one model at a time, which is very time consuming, or put them together. It's assembled all my models, and I can export this whole model in a format for import into these systems. So if you've ever set a tool up in Vericut or Esprit or Tool Management, you know this could take up to 2 or 3 hours to set these tool assemblies up. With Novo, I can actually, with a click of a button, send 4 or 5 tools into my system, and I'm ready to go. So that's all about how the advisor and the tools and the models work. I'm also going to show you our search by product family. So this particular solution is like our catalog on steroids. It's electronic. Again, I'll go into a milling, for example. But what's really great about this particular solution, I'm not a milling guy. I'm an old homemaking guy. I might want to search for a mill that can do face milling, pocket milling, and helical milling. Okay, so I've done the face milling, pocket milling, and helical milling, and now I'm going to go into a diameter of, let's say 1 inch cutter here. So now with just 3 clicks, I've basically found all of the milling cutters within the WIDIA portfolio, which will work for this application in P2. I can also say, you know what, I know I want it to work in steel, but I want to make sure it works in stainless steel as well. So now I've clicked in there. I can go in and I can check actually availability. Maybe I need this job. Maybe I need this tool tomorrow. So I can click on availability here and see if it's in stock in Cleveland, perhaps. So this one's available. Great. I'm gonna order this one here through my local distributor, and I'm gonna add it to my job. So once I've added it to my job, again, now that I've checked that that's available, it's very easy for me to find the inserts and match the inserts to this particular milling cutter. So as you know, we have a 2,000 page catalog, but I've basically got 25 inserts that'll work for me. And once I basically get into maybe a corner radius here, I'm basically down to 4. I'm basically down to 4 inserts. So it's very easy for me to check which insert might be in stock. I can also go in and it shows for the inserts. It shows that if the particular insert's a first choice or an alternate choice for a particular material. So I like this insert here. It's a first choice for steel. It's an alternate choice for stainless. So I'm going to pick that one. I know I have a steel job, but I just want to make sure it works in stainless. I'm going to pick it, add it to my assembly, add it to my job, and now I'm ready to go. The other things that you can do in here as an end customer, which are very convenient, is you can add these tools to your shopping cart. And once I've got my shopping cart built, I can share it with my local I can request a quote from my local distributor, enter his email in here, and my local distributor rep's going to get a list of my tools. If I'm a WIDIA distributor, once I've got this job, I can actually enter my WIDIA Center account and check my pricing, order. I can even request a SAP quote from WIDIA directly. The last thing I want to show you guys, two last things I want to show you guys is the machines concept. So again, I've set up this Haas machine here. It's very simple to set up. You have a name, a cost, and a machine efficiency, and then the important thing is to set up the spindle. So this particular spindle, I've got 25 horsepower, maximum torque of 600. And when I go into the advisor for milling, for example, and I pick this particular machine and spindle. Now, when I go into selecting something for P2 with a 25 millimeter depth shoulder, 15 millimeter width, and hit continue, it's going to give me milling solutions which are best suited for that particular spindle application. It's going to restrict you from solutions that probably don't work. The last thing I wanted to share with you today is just the quick search method. So it does have a very nice Boolean search where I can search for. Get back in here. I can search for by product family or material master number, and this is a very nice way to check inventory availability, feeds and speeds. If you have a particular material master, it's pretty easy to check here as well. So I'm going to open it up for questions. And I would encourage you to ask away. So
the first question that comes to my mind is if you look at the tool advisor and come over to turning.
Yes.
Now I see that quite a few of the operations are not even kind of active.
Yeah, so those are in development and will come in later releases.
Okay.
So we have a pretty robust solution systems on the market. We have about 30 standard applications, 40,000 standard items. And 3,000 materials, but we're working on the threading, grooving, and cutoff as we speak. Well,
okay.
there's actually cutoff in here. I guess it's just threading and face grooving, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So good question. And,
okay. Can you also tell me once again where are the catalogs?
Yeah. So if you go to search by product family, you basically have the catalog here. You can see the major sections.
Okay. So does it have all the catalogs for sure?
For sure. Yeah, 40,000 items.
Okay. And does it also have all the products in the Novo already built in? I mean, except those threadings and cutoffs. Everything
well,
else?
Actually, the products are in there. So if I would go into threading, for example, and I would pick, it's just not the advisor. So if you go into turning and you wanted to do a face grooving example or threading, I guess, something here, you actually have a threading section in the filters. It's just not the advisor. So you can use this as a for solutions for that.
Okay, great. So do we conclude that if something is not popping up on Novo, it does not exist in the product range of WIDIA?
Yes. So what's great is because it comes live from Kennametal's SAP system or from WIDIA's SAP system via the cloud. If we obsolete something, it will disappear out of here. If if you also save a job and the item goes obsolete, it'll give you a warning like your Apple phone.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can conclude if it's not in here, it's not an active item. And the same is true for new items. We have the VSM 11 in here, which won't be in a catalog for 4 or 5 months, but it's in here.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Pretty clear.
Yeah, you're welcome. They're good questions. We have the latest view of the portfolio here.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Vericut on a standalone system. Can I export this stuff out of your system so that I can upload it into a standalone computer system?
Not sure if I understand your question. Do you want to export the data, or do you want to run it offline?
I want to export the data so that I can import it into Vericut, which is on a standalone computer system.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Vericut, at the job, you might have missed it, but at the job level, I can export the whole job of tools I've created to the format which Vericut likes. So you'll get all these tools, all these models, and it'll just download to your desktop, and then you just upload that to Vericut. Vericut has developed an easy button inside their app as well. I'm not sure what stage it's at, but they're going to have a button that you can just share a job. So I could share a job with Vericut, and you can suck it in as well. Did that answer your question? You can also,
yes, it
by the
did.
way, yeah, you can also download the individual items as well. So when I was in this item here, for example, there's a download model button. I'm like jammed up here. So there's a download model button which will also allow you to download this particular item into a file format as well. So you can download an individual tool, an individual assembly, or a job full of assemblies with an automatic export to Vericut.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that saves you some time, huh? That's always an issue getting models into Vericut, isn't it?
Yes.
Good questions. Any other questions out there today? Does it look
hey,
simple?
Chris.
Yeah, Tom.
Chris, when you're
Yeah.
when you're loading this machine data into Novo, is there any way that this thing can identify between a turning center and a machining center?
In what way, Tom? So I've got
Well, I played with it. I played with it a little bit to try to get used to it, and I went through and tried to pick a machining strategy for a 1-inch 750 hole. And what it did is it pulled up a helical tool pattern with an end mill. Okay, now if I was on a turning center, like a Haas turning center, of course I couldn't do that. What I want to do is I'd want an inch 750 drill, or I'd want a drill and a boring bar to bring it to finished size. So is there any way when you load these machines you can designate between the two type spindles?
Not at the moment, Tom. So that's why, remember, when I was going through the advisor, that's why it comes to the strategy first. Because at the moment, you have to know which strategy is going to fit your machine. And that's why that step is so critical. In the future, because I should mention, in the future, we've partnered with the Machining Cloud, so they have a lot of people you can see who are working with them. Their vision is to have machine tools publish their machines to this application. You can just download it. And then at that point, it would know what kind of machine it was. I'm not sure that's coming. I'm not sure it's coming tomorrow, but we recognize the need.
Right, but that's in the plans later on down the road. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that's their vision. I don't know if they have a plan. Yeah, I'd say that's their vision.
Okay.
Good question, Tom. Anything else? Anybody else? It seems simple enough to get started with. Is it the other thing I probably didn't show you guys out there was, eventually you can hook this into, under the user profile, you can hook this into a toolbox system, and it would also show in your tab not only availability at the video warehouses, but in toolbox. All right. Well, any other questions out there? Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Well, have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Appreciate you joining today, and I hope Novo will stay more productive.